What is going on there, everyone? Welcome back to another video from Dracon, and today I do have a pre-warning. This one's going to come at you as, like, this box I got is not in great shape. This I'll talk about once I get into it, but here we go. So today we are talking about Omnith the Great Elemental from Magic the Gathering. Now, we're going to switch to the back immediately on this one. Sorry about that, folks. The main reason why is because, as you can see on the front side there, it was beat up. This box, and even on the back here, you can see damage markings. But this box showed up, or sorry, it wasn't even in a box. They literally, I don't know what Amazon's doing if they're not having their vendors that they take product from and ship for them. I don't know if they have like a rule, but this should have been put inside of a box and then shipped to me, because how it was shipped, it showed up beat up. It looks like it had been kicked around a little bit, squished, and I'm like, that's great. Good thing I don't happen to keep all these in boxes when I get them, and I want them to look nice on the shelf. Man, what a shame. Like, thank goodness Omnith I was planning to actually put on a shelf and never keep in his box, because it has the new open windowed style, and as you can see by its open window style, it's quite beat up and wouldn't look all that impressive on the old shelf. Now would it? Now, let's open this thing up because I am sick of looking at its tattered, boxy self, and let's take a look at the miniature self, shall we? Okay, so here he is, out of the box, Omnith the Great and Mighty Elemental, and in my opinion, probably the king elemental of Magic the Gathering himself, based on his size and power. Granted, he's only a 5/5 on his card, and then he's been Phyrexianized. I'm not sure how that happened. I mean, I gotta say, I thought you had to have a body to be Phyrexianized. Really weird how that seemed to happen. Strange. But, as you can see, though, he has great detail. Now, he has translucency, so some details might not be visible easy, but he looks pretty nice. So and you can see, though, there is a little bit of, like, what looks to be a warp on the back of his base there. Not really thrilled with that. The box itself and his clamshell together piece he came in were a little roughed up too, so I'm like, I'm not sure, and I don't know if this comes with a base. I'm not certain if this is supposed to be a standalone piece that stands on its own base. Granted, it does. I mean, it's not all that wobbly as you just saw me test. So, I mean, I probably won't either. I probably will not base this thing. There's no point. I'm probably going to try to hit this little area there with some heat. See if I can get that to go back down. Maybe it's supposed to sit like that for stability, but you can see, like, he can wobble back if you push back on him. Not great. But I do like him. He's a big, bulky, powerful-looking monster. None of his claws are broken. None of the arms are broken. Nothing was, like, broken or snapped off, which is great. Thank goodness, after all of its beating it took. Now, granted, this is going to be a very unique miniature to paint, because I actually got myself some inks, and I'm going to try to do kind of an inkish wash paint to this thing. For his greens, the sort of orange and red and yellowish and the blue, or the greenish yellow. Like, I'm gonna really try on this one and put some effort into it. So yeah, do check out my Twitter, guys, where I do post a finished job, and man, I'm hoping I can do great. I really, if all does not go well, I will go up to my backup option and thin out my paint and hit him very light with paint and kind of dry, like dab off some to try and keep it translucent, because I want to keep that translucency. And honestly, one thing I might also do is if possible, if I do ever put him on a base, I'll try to build him on a slightly taller base so I can put some holes in his base and put some LEDs coming up through, so I'll shine on him and, like, make him glow a little, which would be kind of cool. Don't know if that'll happen. It depends on how it comes out with the paint job, but we'll see. WizKids, now, price is also important. This thing was on a great deal, which is partially why I got him. So I just moved Omnith onto the table flat, so that way he's not in that white base, which makes him look really hard to see. His details are a little easier to see here. Not sure if changing his angle would help. Yeah, it's hard to tell. His translucency will get better once I hit him with some of the inks, and, like, the crevices get more paint in it while the top doesn't, to really pop those crevices better, and you'll see them. Now, I gotta say, now, price is important why I bought him, because I've seen this guy in stores, and they want around $60. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot for an unpainted miniature I gotta paint, do the effort of any assemblage, and I throw that as a general, because some minis you have to actually put together, and some you don't. This guy is luckily a nice solid piece, so there was none of that garbage to deal with. Like, I didn't have to build him. Because usually once you have building stuff with translucency parts, it never really goes, it never works right, because it always looks weird. But I gotta say, I do like Omnith. It's pretty cool looking. But, how can I say that? I mean, like, everything's pretty solid. There isn't super much flex. There's just a little bit, which is good for, in case he does ever maybe bonk or fall off a table, he might bounce a little bit so he doesn't break and snap. He does feel really solid, so he's not, like, very flimsily put together. Not another little bit there. I mean, like, feels solid. I do love how they got, like, definition of elemental abs on him, which is kind of funny. Like, elemental six-pack. I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, man, why is it they made Omnith look like he's a bodybuilder of elementals? But once again, maybe I'm wrong. If you have more knowledge on that, if Omnith really does have a physical body in his elemental, like, for the Phyrexians to technically infect with their oil, let me know. Or maybe they threw oil into his elemental matrix and somehow it assimilated the oil. I have no clue how it happened. There was just an Omnith the Phyrexian card, and I was like, it's like with Bolus. You can't Phyrexianize Bolus because he's not there to Phyrexianize. Doesn't make sense. Maybe one day Wizards will actually come around and give us an actual answer. Maybe WotC will say, hey, this is how it happened, and I might be like, okay. Still don't like it, but whatever. So let's compare Omnith to some of his elemental brethren. So here we have Omnith sitting next to some Earth Elementals. We have the Earth Elemental from Fangs and Talons. We have an older Elemental from, like, the days back when Hasbro made the models at WizKids, and there's the Loyal Earth Elemental. And then to his left, we have, to his right, because it's not ours. But on the left side there, you do have the Stone Wall, or the Elemental Wall, which is a stone elemental, obviously. But, yeah. I mean, next to them, I can see it. You could paint your Omnith to look like he belongs to the Elementals of Earth. But I'm just comparing the Elementals to show off, like, how big and imposing this guy would be to throw on a table. Okay, so next up we have Omnith with the other Elementals instead of Earth, because I don't really have a crapload of these type of Elementals really just lying around of this size that were good for, scaling. This is all large. I mean, everything here is, like, large size to compare to him. But, and yeah, he's really imposing, even over the mighty fire, wind, and water elementals. Oh my god, it's like Avatar going on here. Weird. Anyway, before I get distracted. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Now let's compare him to, like, some of the elemental sapiens, I guess you'd call it, or the elemental beings, the ones that have true intelligence and have, like, lives and families and stuff. Let's try them. And then here we have Omnith sitting there with some more of the sentient, as well as a Reaper Bones elemental. I thought I should throw it in there, so I took that crystal elemental I got. Kind of showed what I'm hoping to kind of get his translucency to look like when he gets hit by light and stuff. Hoping I can get as good as that crystal elemental, if not better, with inks instead of, like, full-on paint, because that will avoid any solidity going on. I mean, this thing came with, like, that bluish crystal, so I didn't have too much I had to do to it, but I gave it that greenish tint. Now, he is standing next to the Water Genie and the Fire Genie, or the Ifriti, which the Ifriti female there is one of my favorite models Reaper's throwing out there. I mean, next to Reaper miniatures, it easily can stand up and look just as good with them too. And man, I'm sorry, that Ifriti female, I had to order her when I saw her on there. I was like, I don't have an Ifriti model, and man, she looked good. And when I got done painting her, she still looks great. I did a lot of effort to give her a nice base and everything. But yeah, honestly, Omnith Man is a solid miniature. If you can get him for a good deal, it's a solid purchase. This thing is not going to disappoint you. Granted, be careful when you buy him with shipping. Hope for the love of God it comes in a box with some, like, guarding packaging, because, man, this thing needed it. Its box looked like it got beat up pretty bad. Like, it was thrown around the store. Like, the employees were playing catch with it back and forth, going like, oh, man, throw it on the shelf. Oh, cool. It doesn't matter. It looks beat up. Nah, man, no one's going to care. And it's like, oh, God. I mean, like, the company shouldn't have just wrapped it with some, like, plastic wrap stuff and slapped a label on it, because it did not keep it safe. I'm just grateful it did not come with any broken pieces. Granted, too, like I said, if you guys know in the comments if it's supposed to come with a base in the bottom, throw that down there, because I feel it should have came with a base, like a nice clear base to go underneath it. Even though it kind of doesn't need it for how big it sits on one already. But like I said, if it did, it's just, I kind of like to know if it did or not. I just feel like I'm missing a piece. It just gives my brain that, like, you're missing something. But anyway, guys, as always, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you tap that thumb up, and give a subscribe if you have not done so already. Join the channel, guys. Join the Dragon Army. Join me in battle. And always make sure you share with your friends. Helps the channel grow. And as always, guys, I appreciate it greatly. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or ideas, or anything you want to throw in the bottom, even if it's just a thought, go ahead and throw in the comments. I love to hear back from you guys. And I usually do try to answer back if you actually have a question. So if you are going to throw a question, don't worry. I'm not just going to ignore it. I will actually put priority to make sure I answer it and send you an answer. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Have a great one, and I will see you all next time. Dracon out. Bye-bye.